Shinobi line of games was a game series released in the late 1980s by Sega. I've always wanted to cover these games because I grew up with the Sega Genesis, and the coolest, most bad-A games I owned were these, the Shinobi line of games. I've always wanted to do a video for them, but I wanted to make sure that they were good videos, worthy of the games. And in my more recent videos, I'm finally actually happy with the quality with them. So I decided that my third year of being a YouTuber was going to start off with these, the Shinobi line of games. Well, we'll start the series off with a game I've never actually played before, the original Shinobi. If I want the next two videos to do well, I should start off by covering a 2D platformer, and it might help me to understand the next two games if I see its humble origins first. And the first thing I learned about Shinobi is that I am really bad at Shinobi. So the first thing that becomes clear is that this game was made for the arcade, and that means that you were meant to die. The first 4 levels are pretty fun, but after that they attempt to teach you a new way to get murdered on each level, but I'll talk about each unique way as I get there. So the first stage is pretty cool and it teaches you your techniques. You can jump, shoot, and ninja! Wait, I thought I already was a ninja. Alright, hold on, can I just say something real quick? I gotta talk about the main character's name. Alright. What if I told you to name a ninja? What would you name him? How would you get that name? Well, if you're anything like me, you'd probably type in random Asian name generator and your list would look something like this. If you're Sega, back in the late 80s, you go with Joe. Joe Musashi! Musashi, yes, I can understand, but Joe? That's literally the most boring American name we have. Was Bob already taken? All right, I just had to get that out of the way. Right over. Get back to the video. So in this game, you walk left to right, throwing your shurikens at foes. They start off with melee fighters and gun guys, but as you walk even further, you have these pink ninjas that you have to save before you can proceed, and each one is being protected by a Rajput warrior with some giant shield. One of them will only attack when you get really close up to them, and the other one will throw their scimitars a boomerang. And I don't know what's going on with these pink ninjas, if they're either damsels in distress, or if they're just trying to have the least manly dojo in all of Japan. Oh, and sometimes when you save these guys, Joe gets a gun! Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat Shinobi! So, the next level is pretty much the same as the last, only this one has Marilyn Monroe posters on the wall. The walls also have these weird wall guys, so here's some fun trivia for you real quick. Did you know? The wall-climbing enemy from the second level originally wore a blue suit with red gloves and looked too similar to the comic book character Spider-Man, and therefore in future releases of the games were altered to green and yellow. Look too close to Spider-Man! Oh brother, I cannot wait for next week's episode! So at the end of each of the stages, there was this samurai who was throwing fireballs at me. But now I finally get to fight him, and it's a pretty fun fight. A little tricky since he shoots these fireballs that move in erratic, hard-to-read patterns, and I don't think I mentioned this yet, but you die in one hit from almost everything this game just touches you, and boom, dead. I mean, it's a good way to loosen quarters from your 1987 wallet, but nonsense today. I'm glad that future games in the series had some room for error. So you jump up and down, land a few shurikens on the boss's face, and once you get him down to 3 life orbs, you press Y to ninja and kill him. After each boss fight, they have a bonus stage, but I don't know what happens if you beat it because I lost every single time I tried it. Now the next level I like because the game is still playing fair. They have a bunch of these soldier guys who run at you and it's fun to time your movements around them. But after that, you enter a living hell of levels that teach you every single way that this game can be unfair. So the ship level is kind of neat. You're on the inside of a ship and you kind of fight vertically, and the lesson that they teach you here is that you have unlimited shurikens and you better be throwing them non-stop. Another thing I learned is the placement of every single enemy from this point on in the game. They also add ninjas here. Green ones that jump around and are a bit of a nuisance, and blue ones which leap up in the air and try to slice you into bits, like landing where you were. The first one is positioned preparing you for failure. They also have this prone guy who is just a pain in the butt. Sometimes you get the shot lined up on him, but his infinite respawning mercenary bud takes the shot instead. Also, when you get to the exit, a bunch of ninjas show up and the only thought going through your head is to leave the level, leave the level, leave the level! So eventually I left the level and make it to the next one, and this one is actually pretty fun. They have these water ninjas, and I died a few times here, and I'm going to use the lamest gamer excuse of all time. I'm gonna blame the controller. The way you need to beat these guys is walk up to their aggro area, duck, and then kick them in the shins. My problem is that sometimes when I hit down, I barely tap the left, which turns my character around, meaning I kick the wrong way, and boom! Water ninja sword to the spine. Another lesson that the entire game taught me is to throw my body at these levels until I beat them. One cool thing that I learned is that when you kill the Rajput warriors and save the pink ninja, the Rajput warriors won't come back. I honestly don't know how I would get past this part of the level if I couldn't use ninja and remove these guys as a factor. And after that, I get a pretty neat boss fight. So the boss fight was against a helicopter, and every time I shot it in the propeller, it dropped a yellow ninja. However, I don't know how the yellow ninja AI works because what I did was shot it in the propeller 3 times, used ninja, and then I shot it 3 more times in the propeller, killing it. The next level is decently fair and adds in buff dudes with bazookas, but the next 2 levels teach you 2 conflicting messages. The first stage teaches you to be thorough, methodical, and kill every single enemy. The next level teaches you to run for your worthless life. Now, ninjas are the most prevalent enemy in this game. 1 ninja is a bit of a nuisance, 2 ninjas is a very real threat, and this level starts you out with fighting 2 ninjas, and then fighting another 2, and then this one, and then they make this one spawn right as you jump at him, and after you take him out, they pull this little stunt. Once you're in this compromised position, they spawn 4 ninja that just jump at you in the pit! Well, isn't this just peachy?
Peachy?
Now in a BS position like this, I'm tempted to just use my ninja! But that's actually the worst thing that you can do in this position, because later in the level, they have you face a group of 3 ninjas, and let me just refresh you that saying 2 ninjas is the most that you can take on at once, but shortly after that point, they summon 6 at once! 6! 6! So what you have to do from this point is run. Get them to jump to the left of the death pit, then jump out on the right, run past the 3 ninjas, jump up, run past the 1, and then when the 6 come out of freaking nowhere, you use your ninja! Then you head to the next boss fight, which is, the boss is, that. Whatever you would call this, it's a that. What is this thing? It looks like a wall made of Kali / Buddha / Amon all spinning towards me. And then a fight against a cross between like Anakos from Fire Emblem and that one enemy from Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now for the next level. The area is kind of nice aesthetically. The first half is pretty fun and yet challenging with ninja fights, but the last half, they get you in a compromised position and have a bunch of ninja ambush you out of nowhere. Seriously, the blue ones hop on top of you while the green ones stand on the side and say, "No, you stay in the death pit, scumbag," forcing you to use your ninja! This is just bad level design. If you force the player to use a screen clearing attack and making it impossible for them to get out using their skill alone, you have failed as a programmer. So I continue on the level and what the heck was that? Was that a goblin? Well, I finish off the map and go to the Blue Ninja hideout. Or at least that's what I call it, because you need to fight a ton of Blue Ninja. And this level is really unfair because you fight Blue Ninja using maneuverability, and these logs really limit that, meaning you're gonna die a lot, but not as much as the next stage. So the next level I can only describe as some novice Mario Maker's expert torture chamber stage. Remember that goblin? Well, that's the gimmick of this stage. The goblins cannot kill you, but the stage is designed in such a way that when they leap into you, they will stagger you off the edge. And actually, I resent my accusation of this being a bad Mario Maker stage, because there is not an enemy in Mario Maker that moves at such a weird, erratic speed as the Goblin, because Nintendo realizes that this is completely unfair. Haha, take that, Blue Ninja! Wait, he's still alive?! Then we fight Lobster, or as I've nicknamed him, Ryoma. As far as bosses go, this may be the most unfair boss I have ever fought. Look at this! He makes a beeline at Joe. You can't even run away fast enough to not get killed by him. And his sword is blocking his one weak point. I swear, if the game didn't make him weak enough that one shot and ninja were enough to kill him, I don't think I could. Alright, now for the last little bit, the final levels. I don't have as much info on these because the game has taught you, hey man, you can die all you want, that way you'll learn how to pass these levels. But once you get to the final section of the game, if you run out of lives, game over, no restart. The first level is decently easy, just a bunch of ninja and some bone samurai, but the amount of ninjas near the end does result in a few expirations. I did get past that level, but then my journey ends because of a bunch of bouncy ping pong ball blue ninjas of death.
A shameful end.
So, that's Shinobi, the game that started it all, and I gotta say, I'm really glad that I got an opportunity to play this game. I learned a lot about Shinobi Series as a whole, and I must say that I'm more excited to review Shinobi 3 and Revenge of Shinobi, but I'll be doing that on the impending Mondays. If the timeline right now is past those impending Mondays, I'll make those videos clickable. But if not, just go ahead and subscribe, and see you next time. Sayonara! Konnichiwa! Shinobi Sutsuke I... This is gonna be impossible.